Story number 1, the white truck. I didn't realize how quiet the street was until I heard the engine. It was late evening, not fully dark yet. I was 16 and walking home alone after staying too long at a friend's place. It was a normal suburban area. Small houses, parked cars, porch lights, turning on one by one. That's why the sound stood out. A truck was driving slowly behind me, too slowly. I stepped closer to the sidewalk, pretending not to notice. The truck stayed with me. Same pace, same distance. I could hear the tires crunching softly on gravel every time it adjusted its position. At first, I told myself I was being paranoid. Then the truck stopped. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. The engine idled for a few seconds. Then the driver's door opened. Footsteps hit the pavement. "Hey," a man's voice said calmly. "You dropped something." I froze. I hadn't dropped anything. I took 2 quick steps forward. The footsteps followed. Faster now. "Don't run," he said, still calm. Too calm. "I just want to talk." That's when I ran. I cut between 2 houses, jumping over a low fence and nearly tripping in someone's yard. I could hear him behind me, breathing hard, swearing under his breath. I reached the next street and didn't stop. I ran until my lungs burned, until my vision blurred. When I finally ducked behind a parked car and looked back, the street was empty. No truck. No man. I waited there for nearly 20 minutes before going home, taking the longest route possible. I didn't tell anyone. 2 weeks later, police cars filled my neighborhood. A man had been arrested after attempting to abduct a girl 2 streets over. Witnesses described his vehicle, a white truck. When they showed his photo on the news, my stomach dropped. It was him. The reporter said something that still haunts me. He admitted he had been watching the area for months, waiting for the right moment. I realized then how close I'd been, not to being attacked, but to being chosen. Story number 2, the call that wasn't for me. I answered the phone because it wouldn't stop ringing. It was after midnight, and the number was unfamiliar. I let it ring 3 times, then 4, then 5. Something about the persistence bothered me more than the hour. When I picked up, no one spoke. I could hear breathing, slow, controlled. "Hello?" I said. A pause. Then a man's voice, calm and certain. "I'm downstairs." My stomach tightened. I lived alone in a small apartment building with only 6 units. The front door was always locked at night. I checked it myself out of habit. "I think you have the wrong number," I said. "No," he replied. "I don't." The call ended. I sat there staring at my phone, convinced it was a prank. Still, I got up and quietly walked to the door. I didn't open it. I just pressed my eye to the peephole. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no movement. Just the buzzing light above the stairwell. I locked the deadbolt anyway and went back to bed. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. Same number. This time, I didn't answer. A text appeared instead. "You left your kitchen light on." My heart started pounding. I hadn't left the bedroom. I knew the light was off. I checked the hallway camera feed on my phone, the cheap one the landlord installed after a break-in last year. The hallway was still empty. Then another text came through. "Don't look outside yet." I didn't know why, but my eyes immediately moved toward the window. I stopped myself inches from the curtain. My phone buzzed again. Good. I locked myself in the bathroom and called the police. While waiting, messages kept coming. "I'm not here for you. But you weren't supposed to wake up. The apartment across from yours is empty. It shouldn't be." Police arrived 10 minutes later. They searched the building, found nothing, no one, no signs of forced entry. The officer told me it was probably someone messing with me and suggested I block the number. I did. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, police cars were back. My neighbor across the hall, a woman I barely knew, had been found unconscious in her apartment, drugged, barely alive. When detectives asked if I'd noticed anything unusual, I told them about the calls. They checked the number. It was registered to a prepaid phone, activated 3 days earlier, deactivated at 12:47 a.m. One detective looked at me and said quietly, "You weren't the target." I moved out a week later. Last night, my new phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. Wrong building. This time. This. Story number 3. The door was never locked. I always locked the door. That was my rule. I lived alone in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Not dangerous, not fancy, just quiet. The kind of place where nothing ever happens, which is exactly why I liked it. Every night before bed, I checked the lock. Every single night. One evening, I got home late from work. I remember it clearly because I was exhausted and annoyed. I kicked off my shoes, dropped my bag, and went straight to the kitchen to grab water. That's when I noticed something was wrong. One of the cabinet doors was open. Not wide open, just slightly, enough that I noticed it. I stood there for a few seconds staring at it, trying to convince myself I'd left it that way. I probably had. People forget things like that all the time. Still, I checked the rest of the apartment. Everything else was normal. I locked the door, double-checked it, and went to bed. The next morning, my bathroom light was on. I never leave it on. Again, I brushed it off. I was tired, stressed. My mind was playing tricks on me. That night, I checked the lock twice before sleeping. The following evening, I found a mug in the sink, clean, wet. I hadn't used it. That's when the fear really started. I told myself it had to be muscle memory, autopilot. Maybe I was doing things and forgetting. People talk about that all the time. To be safe, I took a photo of the locked door before going to bed, just in case. The next morning, the door was still locked, but my couch pillow had been moved. Not much, just rotated slightly, like someone had sat there. I started checking everything obsessively, doors, windows, closets. Nothing was missing, nothing was broken, no signs of forced entry. I bought a cheap camera and placed it in the corner of the living room. It only recorded when it detected movement. That night, I slept with the bedroom door locked. In the morning, there was one recording. Timestamp, 2:13 a.m. The footage showed my living room. Then the front door handle moved. Slowly, carefully, the door opened. A man stepped inside. He didn't rush, didn't look around nervously. He moved like someone who had done this before. He walked straight to the couch and sat down, checked his phone, took a sip from a mug. My mug. Then he stood up, walked to the camera, and turned it off. I called the police immediately. They searched the apartment, found nothing, no fingerprints, no signs of a break-in. But when the officer checked the door lock, he frowned. "It's not broken," he said, "but it's old." He showed me how the lock could be opened with the right pressure, quietly, without damage. The building manager checked the records. The man in the video used to live in my apartment. He had moved out 6 months earlier. He still had a key. They never got him. I moved out the same week. Sometimes, late at night, I still wake up and wonder, if I hadn't installed the camera, how many times had he already been inside?